Welcome to Motions Monday, where we look at an emotional word for the day. We define that word, we describe what it looks like in daily living, and we decide, are we going to reduce that feeling or are we going to increase that feeling because it's positive and helpful, or try to reduce or eliminate it because it's negative and impacting us in a harmful way. And today's emotional word of the day is alarmed. When you're feeling alarmed, you're feeling like there's a sense of danger. It's urgently feeling worried or concerned or frightening. That would be the definition of feeling alarmed. So, what does that look like in daily living, right? When we are feeling a sense of urgency, a sense of panic, a sense of being afraid, of stopping what we're doing, stopping in our thoughts, stopping in our tracks, and starting to feel like, okay, I need to figure out what's going on. Is this something that's detrimental? Is this, how bad is it, right? You start to problem solve, right? You start to expect the worst when you feel alarmed. So you could feel alarmed when, there's a pending natural disaster, when you're watching the news and they tell you that the hurricane is coming or that there's tornadoes being experienced, right? When you're out late at night, this is what it looks like in daily living. You're out at night and you see someone running towards you. You don't see anything behind them, so you don't see why they should be running towards you, but they're running towards you. It's natural to be alarmed in that situation. Or if you see people rushing out of a store or rushing from one place to another and you're not sure what's going on because that looks unnatural, you'll feel alarmed. Be in a very peaceful environment and still feel alarmed. For example, let's say you're going for a walk in the park and you see someone coming towards you and they have this big dog and the dog looks scary or the dog looks bothered or intimidating, or maybe you have a fear of dogs. So in your mind, there is a perceived threat. This dog is big. This dog may come away from their leash, and you're feeling threatened by that situation, or someone running at you when it's dark, or if you're home alone and you hear a sudden noise that's really either loud or just a unnatural noise, not something that you hear often, you could think, is there a threat in my home, or is this dog threatening, or is this situation threatening? And that can cause you to be alarmed. In daily living, feeling alarmed, that emotion is not necessarily a bad one because it lets you know that something is happening. It lets you know that something in front of you or something that you're hearing, seeing, or feeling may be concerning. It puts you on alert. It allows you to be more aware and more sensitive. What you want to be careful of is, when does that being on alert, being more aware, being more sensitive, ready to respond to a threat, when is that becoming where it's dangerous for you because you're in a chronic state of feeling that way, because it's not substantiated by what's going on outside of your body, outside of your mind, but you're feeling that nevertheless. So feeling alarmed when there's nothing around you that should be contributing to that feeling. This would be like sitting in your own home feeling alarmed, but you didn't hear a noise. There's nothing changed in the environment. There's nothing coming at you. There's nothing scary. There's no sounds, no signs of some reason to be alarmed, but yet you're sitting in your own home feeling alarmed. There's another thing happening when you're feeling alarm, is that your body is engaged in that emotion. So you feel alarm, you think that there is a threat coming your way, and your adrenaline starts to flow and increase your heart rate. Your blood pressure is starting to elevate. The cortisol, that stress hormone, is starting to be exuded in your body. Your body is responding to the stress that your mind is perceived is happening. This is definitely one of the emotions that takes your body on a ride. It's as your body was going on a roller coaster ride when you're feeling alarm, and that roller coaster is going straight up. All of your responses are increasing. And once that threat is gone, once your mind tells your body we're okay, there's nothing going to happen, we're safe, then your hormone levels can now start to subside and get to this normal baseline. But if that threat is not perceived to be gone, and it's perceived that it's going to continue to increase, or it's getting closer, or it's more intense, those adrenaline levels, those cortisol levels are going to continue to be high and increase. And you're going to start to feel it in your body. You're going to feel like you want to fight. You're going to feel like you want to run, which would be the flight response, or you're going to feel paralyzed, which would be the freeze response. If this threat does not seem to be going away, if this alarm that's going off in your body is not being comforted and subsided, it's going to feel like you need to take action. And one of those responses will happen. If this continues to be in a chronic state, that means it's happening over and over again, long periods of time, where you're feeling unalarmed. If that continues, what also follows is an increase in feelings of anxiety. Why? Because you're always feeling like the threat is coming your way, and you're not sure how you're going to respond. You're not sure if you're going to be safe. You're not sure if you're going to be able to know what to do when it happens. So it creates that sense of anxiety. Can I handle this? What's going to happen next? That feeling of uncertainty comes in. Over time, it can bring depression, right? Because you're not able to function the way that you're normally functioning, so you get sad about it. So you get, and that sadness prolonged can lead to depression. You'll see it also being felt in your body, whether it's problems digesting your food and processing foods because your stomach is feeling that sense of anxiety. You may feel increased headaches, migraines. Also, you would have problems sleeping because you're feeling like you're on alarm, on alert all the time. So it's hard to get a good night's sleep because your brain is trying to process this sense of an impending threat, even though the threat is not happening. Your brain is trying to say, what do we do? Are we going to be ready? Do we have the resources? It's trying to problem solve while you're trying to get some sleep. And as a result, it could follow with you losing weight because you're too worried to sleep, or and you're having not only lack of sleep, but you're too worried to eat, right? It could also result in weight gain because of that worry, because of that uncomfortable feeling. You're eating more to help self-soothe, to deal with that feeling that you're having. And if your mind is always focused on a pending threat or a possible threat, then you're having problems concentrating, you're having problems remembering. You might experience some of that being impaired also as a result of feeling stressed out, as a result of staying on alarm. Based on what we shared today, then this requires a decision. Are we going to keep this emotion of being alarmed, or are we going to reduce it and eliminate it? And the answer would definitely be to reduce and eliminate. We don't want all the other side effects of staying in a chronic sense of being alarmed. And so to not get all those other things that come with being in a chronic state of being alarmed or stressed, we want to reduce that feeling. We want to make sure that we're not moving from just feeling alarmed every once in a while to feeling alarmed constantly. When deciding how to reduce that feeling of feeling alarmed and how to eliminate it, we're going to have to look at where it's coming from. And one way to do that is to just engage in counseling. This will be something you want to look at getting counseling for if you're feeling alarmed on a constant basis, where it's becoming chronic, affecting your mental health, your physical health. You want to be able to get in touch with a counselor and be able to process what's going on that's making you feel threatened on a constant basis. It might be anxiety, it might be depression, it might be something else, and that's why it's important to get a good counselor in your area to kind of work through that issue to reduce or eliminate that sense of being alarmed. There's also, it might require medication, so you want to talk to your doctor about this feeling that you've been having to see if medication can help reduce it or eliminate some of those feelings. You definitely want to look at increasing some coping skills, so just having some stress relieving activities built into your life so that you can physically release the stress that you're feeling from being alarmed, and also more ways to think positively about whatever situation that you're in that may be causing those feelings of alarm. That's why getting a good counselor is going to help. Getting some physical release from that stress is going to help, and beginning to just look at what are the resources, right? What are the things that you know to do? What are the things that you have that's going to help to respond to that perceived threat? So if the threat is I'm feeling alarmed because every time I go to work, I'm worried I'm going to lose my job, then you want to take some action to help you feel more confident about your job, wanting to make sure that you are one of the employees if they're looking at downsizing and keeping. You want to do some problem solving and really look at, is this something that I should be alarmed about, or is this something that I should not worry about because I have the resources to take care of this issue, or is this something that I can get a friend to help me think through about ways to reduce the threat, right? So if it's an issue of safety in your home, you might look at installing some security systems to ensure safety. If it's an issue of, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep my job, you might look at what are some ways to prepare to really stand out so that you can keep your job, or even prepare that if you were to lose your job, here's what you have in place to be able to get the next job. So, updating your resume, reaching out to your contacts, doing things to prepare yourself for what you think is the perceived threat, and looking at problem solving, looking at solutions so this threat can be minimized or eliminated, because once you problem solved it, you realize that what you were worrying about was not a threat at all. It was just a concern. You were able to eliminate it because you addressed that concern, and now you can sleep because that's not something that's going to keep coming to your mind because you took care of it. So it's important in these situations to really have a friend, have someone that you can talk to. And if it's chronic, definitely look at getting a therapist to be able to work through some of these issues that's causing you to chronically feel threatened or heightened sense of alarm. Because we want you to live your best life. And being in a state of chronically feeling on alert or heightened stress or alarmed is not living your best life. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you for the next Motions Monday, where we'll look at the next emotion of the day.